Hello everybody, welcome back to virtual story time. I still missed you guys, and now we're not on the road anymore. We're back in our home, but we can still do story time, right? We just don't have a guest. Let's do our hello song and then we'll get started. We make the sign for hello, we make the sign for friends, and we sing hello friends, hello friends, hello friends, it's time to read a book. Thanks. So you can see here I have a few sciencey looking things here, right? So even though we did a science story time, I don't know, back in March or April, I thought it might be fun to do another one. And our first book is called Fairy Science, Solid, Liquid, Gassy by Ashley Spires. So just in case, we'll make sure you guys know, a solid, when water is solid, it becomes ice, right? A solid thing is something you can pick up and throw around and touch, right? Solid. And when water is a liquid, it's like water that you drink, right? Liquid. And when water evaporates and turns into a gas, you can't see it, but it's a gas, and it's in the air, in the clouds and stuff like that, right? A solid, a liquid, and a gas for water. Okay, let's read Fairy Science. Esther does not believe in magic, which is kind of a big deal when you are a fairy. The teacher says, "How does Jack Frost make snow?" And the kid says, "Magic," the fairy kid, right? While the other fairies wish on stars, Esther conducts experiments. While they learn spells, she studies the law of density. This kid says, "Alakazoo," which reminds me of Kalamazoo. I wish, but here's Esther. She's a fairy who prefers a microscope to a wand. Esther is dedicated to science. She and her friends use the scientific method to explore the world around them. First, they ask a question. What happens to ice when it warms up? Then they do some research. They get some ice, they heat it up. The birdie says, "Don't lick it." What happens to ice when it warms up? They each make a hypothesis. Esther says, "The ice will change color." This person says, "It will turn into liquid." This one says, "It will become a raspberry." When ice warms up, what happens to it? They do experiments and they examine their results. You can see them heating, using heat. Finally, they draw their conclusions. When ice warms up, it turns into a liquid, water. I think mine peed. Oh boy. When ice warms up, it turns into a liquid. Esther and her friends try to share their discovery at school, but none of their fairy mates are interested. Here's Esther making her report. So, as you can clearly see, the rising temperature causes the water to change from solid to liquid, which is the real reason the ice melts. How many kids are listening to her? They are too busy planning for the magic fair to listen to her silly logical theories. Now, Esther, we all know that moon sneezes are what make the ice disappear each spring. Who ever heard of a moon sneeze? Last year's fair didn't go well for Esther. It turns out that magic enthusiasts are surprisingly clueless. She has a science fair project that says everything is made of molecules. And here she has a model of a molecule. But the teacher says, "Who has ever heard of molecules? Esther, you have such an imagination." While her fairy mates work on their magic projects, Esther focuses on solving scientific problems. How does the compass needle always point north? But the fairy friends are all saying, last one in the pond is a rotten toadstool. And there is no bigger problem, sploot, than a missing pond. Here they all jumped into the pond and it wasn't there. I have mud in my ears. I have mud up my nose. I have mud in all the places. There are lots of ideas about what happened to the pond. An ogre drank it. It went down the drain. It fell in love with a mole and moved underground. It went for a stroll in the woods and got lost. But only Esther and her science pals observe the facts. Maybe it flew away? Fig asks a question. Where did the pond go? Clover does some research. The frog says, this has been the hottest spring in years. Esther forms a hypothesis. We know water is a solid when it's very cold, and it turns to a liquid when it warms up. Together, they conduct experiments and examine the results. Aha! At last, they draw their conclusion. The pond is up there. It did fly away. It didn't fly exactly. When the sun heats up the water, it turns into gas and floats upward to the clouds. The pond will be back when it rains. Can't see it, but it's called evaporation. Since there is no scientific way to force it to rain, Esther and her friends just have to wait and see if her theory is correct. I've noticed that science seems to involve a lot of waiting. Come here, pondy pond. Wait. My potion will bring the pond back. They wait and wait and wait a little longer until finally it starts to pour. Eureka! They were right. After a few days of steady rain, the pond is restored. My potion worked. It's amazing that water can change states like that. No wonder some fairies think it's magic. The water cycle is almost magical, right? It's a little magical that it can be solid, liquid, and gas, depending on the temperature. And it gives Esther the perfect way to bring science to the magic fair. Magic fair today. Pixie dust, what your aura says about you, how fate works, my Aunt Tooth Fairy, the story of a molar hoarder. So here's their display. I'm solid, like an ice cube. I'm liquid, like a cup of water. I'm gassy, like a cloud. The almost magical water cycle. Not exactly magic. Oh my goodness. Did it work? Water is a shapeshifter? No. What type of spell makes the water change? Does water make everyone gassy? Has Esther finally made everyone excited about science? So now she says, the winner of this year's magic fair is Blossom Dinglepuff for her report, Glitter Boogers, Make Your Snot Sparkle. Apparently, the magic fair isn't ready for science, but the judges appreciate a good costume. Esther, Clover, and Fig get first place for Best Magic Fair Costume. Esther may not have won any trophies, but like all good scientists, she knows that discovery is the best reward. And there is always something new to discover. There's always something new to discover. That's right. A solid is ice, a liquid is water, and in the air is the gas. Nice. Let's read another story called Jabari Tries, because scientists and engineers, they have to keep trying, right, in order to discover new things, because you never know when something will work and when something won't. By Gaia Cornwall. Jabari Tries. I'm making a flying machine today, Jabari told his dad. Wow, said his dad. Me, says Nika. My machine will fly all the way across the yard, said Jabari. It'll be easy. I don't need any help. Here he is, pulling out his construction stuff. Jabari built an excellent ramp. He put his flying machine at the very top. Whoosh, around, up it went, and crash. His machine did not fly. Maybe it's too heavy, said Jabari. Me, said Nika. Not now, Nika, said Jabari. I am concentrating. I need something to make my machine go up. He thought about how inventors have to use their creativity and how engineers and scientists work to solve problems. Here's some examples. Lewis Howard Latimer, Dr. Flossie Wong Stahl, Roy Alita, Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. I like that one because my name is Shirley Ann, but not Jackson. Jabari gathered up all his tools. He prepared his space. He sketched and planned. I think the ramp has to be big, Jabari said. Really big. After a lot of building and stacking and hammering and sticking, Jabari was ready. He's got quite a contraption here, right? So he puts his thing up there. Zip, flip, swoosh, around, up. Me, said Nika. Nika, don't, you'll break it. You know, I bet Nika would love to help out, said his dad. Jabari looked at Nika. I don't need any help, he said. What if you thought of her more like a partner, said his dad. Lots of great inventors have had partners. Me, said Nika. We'll try it out, said Jabari. Maybe we need more power, Nika, said Jabari. The engineers measured and mixed. Me, said Nika. Jabari handed his partner a stirring tool. Trickle, pour, twist, turn, bubble, pop, fizz, pow! Flew up in the air, but bash, came right back down. Nothing is working. His chest felt tight and his neck felt like a sunburn. Jabari wanted to cry. He took a tiny rest. Hey, said his dad, I see you're really upset. I'm frustrated, said Jabari. It looks like a frustrating problem, said his dad. When I'm frustrated, I gather up all my patience, I take a deep breath, and blow away all the mixed feelings inside. And then you try again? said Jabari. And then I try again, said his dad. Jabari gathered up all his patience. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He blew away all his muddy feelings. He felt his body calm down. He felt his brain starting to work better. Nika squeezed his hand. Let's try again, said Jabari. The partners thought and thought together. Me, said Nika. That's it, Nika, said Jabari. Maybe, look at this, Nika has butterfly wings on, right? Maybe we need better wings. They cut and glued and shaped and tied. Tinker, twist, snap, snip. Nika found the launch spot. Jabari held the flying machine up, pulled back, and whoosh! Up! Whee! Said Nika. Flying! He made it fly. You did it, said his dad. We did it, said Jabari. It went all the way across the yard. We're great engineers. Whee, said Nika. And guess what? What, said his dad. Rocket to Jupiter is next. Me, said Nika. She wants to be an astronaut, huh? Go to Jupiter. Jabari kept trying, and he with a partner, he finally succeeded, right? Let's read one more book, and then we'll do an experiment. Libby Loves Science by Kimberly Deerting and Shirley Johannes. Illustrations by Joelle Murray. Libby loves science. Libby loved science. She loved mixing, pouring, measuring, and stirring. Whipping up ingredients and making delicious things to eat was one of Libby's favorite ways to experiment. I bet some of you like to put ingredients together and make delicious food. Rainbow pancakes taste way better than plain ones, she told her family. And sometimes it was true. At school, Libby's science teacher, Mr. Darwin, taught the class about chemistry. Libby loved chemistry because it is all about mixing, pouring, measuring, and stirring. Not all chemical reactions occur at the same rate, said Mr. Darwin. Uh-oh, said Libby. Can you see how her experiment is overflowing? It looks like ours reacted too much. Remember, your measurements need to be precise, said Mr. Darwin, but it's okay. Mistakes can lead to discoveries, and sometimes making mistakes was way more fun than cleaning up. And here we have the foaming fountain experiment. It gives you a list of materials needed and steps to take. One day, Mr. Darwin made an important announcement. We are in charge of the science booth at our school's fall festival, he said. Everyone was excited. The fall festival was fun, and Libby liked the science booth the best. Yay! We will have the best booth ever, said Libby. This year, the booth that gets the most visitors and collects the most tickets wins an ice cream party, said Mr. Darwin. We need volunteers to run our booth. Libby, Finn, and Rosa jumped up from their desks. We'll do it, said Libby. Libby, Finn, and Rosa met at Libby's house after school. We absolutely need to win, said Libby. Just imagine an ice cream party. I love ice cream, said Rosa. Competing with the bouncy house won't be easy, said Finn. I think we can do really fun experiments that everyone will want to try, Libby said. Cool, we can decorate the booth too, said Rosa. I have tons of art supplies, said Finn. We can make our booth really stand out. Libby, Finn, and Rosa searched for fun experiments. They made a list of possibilities and voted for their 3 favorites. Finn decided to make giant bubbles. Rosa wanted to mix fluffy slime. And Libby chose to launch a rocket. I can't wait for the festival, she said. Finally, the day of the festival arrived. Libby, Finn, and Rosa got there early to help Mr. Darwin set up the science booth. Finn hauled in hula hoops, dish soap, corn syrup, and a kiddie pool. Rosa carried a basket of shaving cream, glue, saline solution, and glitter. Libby brought baking soda, vinegar, and empty water bottles. They decorated the booth with posters, signs, and science stuff. When the festival opened, the cotton candy booth was swamped right away. The dunk tank was a huge hit, but the face painting team was the one to beat. The festival was crowded with friends and families and teachers having fun. No one's coming to our booth, said Finn. Maybe everyone thinks science is boring, said Rosa. Science is never boring, said Libby. We just need to show them that chemistry is fun. I know, said Finn. Let's blow some giant bubbles. The bigger the better, said Rosa. Finn filled the kiddie pool with water while Rosa mixed in the soap. The secret ingredient is corn syrup, Libby said. Yep, it makes bubbles a bajillion times stronger, said Finn. Look at those bubbles. And here they have the experiment for giant bubbles experiment. They have lists the things you need and the steps you take to do it. Next, let's make some slime, said Rosa to the small crowd that had gathered to make bubbles. Extra glitter equals extra sparkle, added Finn. It's important to add the saline, just a little at a time, said Libby. That's what makes it extra squishy, said Rosa. If you see a few water spots on my book, it's because in my experiment, I made a little bit of a mess. Now for the grand finale, said Rosa. Our rocket will be out of this world, said Finn. We'll win for sure. If we use extra baking soda, the rocket might even go higher, said Libby. Science is a blast, said Rosa. Libby's epic bottle rocket experiment. Here are the directions, and we're going to do that in a few minutes, okay? When Libby added in the baking soda, the liquid started to bubble. When the bottle filled up, the rocket zoomed high into the air. Whoosh! Unfortunately, it sprayed liquid everywhere. It sprayed all over the kids waiting in line. It sprayed way more than Libby predicted. Everyone got soaking wet and ran away. The face painting booth still has a huge line, said Finn. I don't think we have enough tickets. I'm sorry, said Libby. I thought the rocket would be awesome. At least we got a big reaction, said Rosa. The next day, Principal Neal announced the winner of the Fall Festival booth contest. The ice cream party goes to the art club, she said. Their face painting booth won by a landslide. Everyone cheered, even Libby, who felt she'd let her science class down. Mr. Darwin called Libby, Finn, and Rosa to his desk. You three did a great job on the booth, he said. But we didn't win the ice cream party, mumbled Libby. That doesn't mean we can't celebrate how hard you tried, Mr. Darwin said. Any ideas? Maybe we can have our own party, Rosa said. What kind of party? Finn asked. An ice cream party, and we can make our own ice cream, Libby jumped up, and I know exactly what we need. Libby wrote a list of ingredients on the board. Rosa borrowed sugar from the teacher's lounge. Finn ran to the cafeteria for ice, vanilla, and milk. Mr. Darwin grabbed rock salt and freezer bags from his supply closet. And here's the ice cream experiment outline. Libby walked the class through the steps in the recipe. She even added lots of colors because rainbow ice cream usually tastes better than plain. This is delicious, said Finn. Sometimes the best reactions aren't always the first reaction, Mr. Darwin said. Because ice cream is cool, said Rosa. Yeah, said Libby, and science is cool too. Okay. Since Libby's experiment was a rocket going to the moon, I think we should do zoom zoom before we do our own experiment, shall we? Hands together. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon. If you want to take a trip, climb aboard my rocket ship. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Nice. Okay, let's try one of Libby's experiments, shall we? It said to take a plastic bottle, and you can decorate it like a rocket. which I didn't do, sorry. And we put in about 1 inch of vinegar. And try to, whoops, we can use a funnel. This is called a funnel, and that makes it easier to pour liquid into a small opening. That's probably about enough. Okay. We have our vinegar and our funnel. Okay. And then we add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. See? But the way we do it is we're going to put it on a little piece of tissue so that it will take a minute to do the react, so that it won't react quite so quickly, so we have time to. Okay, so we're going to put our reactive powder into the bottle, and we're going to put on our cap. We're going to turn our rocket upside down, and whoa! Did that ever go? Did you guys see that? It was so fast, it was hard to see, and I am a mess. And so is my table, and so is my ceiling. Anyway, that's the rocket experiment, which is kind of fun, but you need an adult to help you with it. Okay, I think that's cool for today. What do you think? And I'm looking forward to being with you next week for story time. But let's do our goodbye song, and thanks for watching. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Have a good week, everyone. Bye-bye.